Welcome to the Medtech Open Office, the place to be for Medtech experts. I will now introduce you to your hosts, Munir El Azouzi and Adam Isaacs Ray. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Medtech Open Office number 5. So I hope you are all doing well. Adam, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. You have always the fans at the end that were.
Don't tell them that. So famous. That's because I suppose one thing that we could chat about is the Medtech leading voice.
Okay.
That's closed. That's closed now.
I don't know because So for people that maybe are listening, so Medtech Meeting, I think we talked about that last time.
Yeah, we were begging people to vote for us. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I think last week there was the end of the votes, but I don't know then what's happening after. So maybe
let me check.
So I don't know if there is anything that is happening there after that.
I think it says now voting and nominations are no longer accepting new submissions. Vote totals remain visible while the final list is reviewed.
Okay. So let's
see if you're on.
Let's see what you think. But as I said, what is great with this kind of thing is mainly the fact that you discover also new people that are really interesting. Because each time I go to their LinkedIn, I check what is their feed. I say, oh yeah, it's interesting. Let me follow them also. So it's really great. Okay, so for people that are listening mainly from anywhere in the world, so if you can say just hi maybe on the comment just to see that you are live and existing and where you are from also. Last time we had from Los Angeles to India. Yeah. I didn't think we had more than India. I don't think we had Australia or something. But
we had
from Los Angeles to India. So let's see now where we are.
Yeah, we need to try and go further. I need Tanzania.
We have still Diana from Netherlands. So hi, Diana. So I hope you are doing well. So we are also now at the number 5 of the Medtech Open Office. As we said before, also we have opened a WhatsApp group So you can check. Adam, you are closer, so you can show this QR code that people can check mainly. And so there you can mainly ask your questions. So we don't have too much question on the group. I think I said we have not a lot of people also, so that's why we are trying to drag people to say come and
talk to us.
Join us. Okay, so we have Azur Gana from Lithuania, Germany, Bunteschmetterling. Bunteschmetterling. And hello from München from Nada. Hey Nada, how are you?
Yeah. Hey Nada.
So we are still in Europe. Let's expand, please.
It's like the medical device industry. It seems to revolve around Europe.
Yeah, we are focused in Europe.
It just revolves around Europe for some reason.
Exactly.
So
thank you again also, Ludwig, for joining. From Germany also. So we're still in Europe. Okay, having somebody from outside of Europe again. Thank you again. Mainly today we'll be again answering some of your questions. If you have already some questions, don't hesitate to send me a question. Send us question on the chat. I said you can also use this Medtech OpenOffice WhatsApp to send questions. We are picking questions from there also. Many, I hope we will be able to answer because it's live. It means that we have prepared nothing, which means that when you ask the question, we are on the spot and we have to answer or find the answer. So it's mainly the situation here. So Adam, any topic to discuss maybe before we look at question, or maybe if we have any other topic to look at, but anything that mainly we want to share with the audience here?
I think one of the kind of, there's been a few things. There's been quite a lot going on from, I suppose, from an EU perspective, but I don't just want to always talk about the EU. But since last time, we obviously did number 4. It was number 4. Now this is 5. So since number 4, Udemy is now mandatory. I think it was before, which is a massive change now to industry.
I think we have to make a precision again, because I still get some message saying to me, Munir, can you help us to register Udemy? Guys, if your products were already placed on the market before the 28th of May 2026, you have still some time until November. The date of 28th of May 2026 is only for new products that will be placed on the market after that date. And then before those products can be placed on the market, they have to be registered on Udemy. So it's mainly the rule. But if your product was already on the market before, the date for you is November 2026. Just to reduce the panic mode of people, because we also have some people that were like rushing, etc. Saying, guys, it's fine.
Yeah.
You are still okay, because as we are acting as authorized representative for our customers, so you have some of them that are contacting us in urgency. Oh, we'll miss the date. Can you help us, etc. Guys, it's fine. It's okay. You are still on the safe side. So mainly Udemy is live for 3 modules. So economic operator registration, device registration, and what's the last one? Certificate from notified bodies.
You can see the wee boxes there, the lovely little boxes.
Sorry?
The first 4 modules. So actor registration, UDI, DI, devices.
But this is the second module. Well, there is no 4, there is 3. There is a 4th module now.
I suppose market surveillance is for the notified bodies.
But it's not for us. This it's for it's for the we don't have access to that. So mainly this access is mainly for.
I would love to see the market surveillance.
You want to see?
I want to see it.
It's the aggregation. I think it's the aggregation of all the information that is on Udemy that will be shown. So it's mainly for if there is any public threat or any big issue with a certain category of EMDN code, etc. They can then identify that. But even now, the market access will show nothing, because the vigilance module is not available. The clinical module is not available. So, I mean, I'm not showing a lot of things. Another thing. So if you need to register on Udemy, if you have an access, then you can register by yourself. So you can go and then register. If you have few products to register, so it's just a forms to fill. You have to fill form for each one of them, which is maybe mainly feasible. If you are if you don't want to do that, if I can say, so we can do it also. So you can hire us and we can do it. So we have a specific template that we are providing to you, and you fill it. And as soon as you fill it, we can do everything. We register everything for you on the database. And we are working also with some partners for that. So don't hesitate to tell us, and we can also help for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Udemy, I think it's clear.
Udemy, yeah, I think we can move on from it now forever. I don't think we should mention it again.
Yeah, I mean, we should still mention it again as soon as there is new modules coming, or if there is any really big problem arriving. But for the moment, it's fine. Yeah, just one thing: we had an issue with one of the registration. So we have a customer that provided us some data for Udemy. We registered that on Udemy, but he made a mistake for the packaging. He had, for example, 7 devices. And another version has 3 devices, and they made a switch, if I can say, on this, and they ask us to modify that, and you cannot modify. So the issue now is that if you make a mistake sometime on Udemy, to update this, you have to change the UDI code. So if your UDI code is already on your packaging, then can be some problem. So be careful if you make it manually. Verify really that the data are all correct before you are transferring them to Udemy, because if you are transferring them and they are not correct, you have maybe to change the UDI code, which can be a nightmare if you had already a label with the UDI code on it, etc. So, just a warning, because we have those kind of issues.
For physical devices, it's quite a challenge. For software, even for software devices, it's if you have to change things like that, that's really moving into major change, like significant change territory. If you start changing things like that, they want to look at it.
Exactly, yeah. Another topic, I don't know if you discussed about that last time, but the legislation 2026-977 for notified bodies. So it's the one that is regulating how notified bodies should be acting now, with some timeline, some rules, some this and that, etc. So now it's live. So I know that Team NB is not happy because for them it's like I mean, I understand them also that all medical devices are not the same. So you can have a wheelchair, pacemaker, syringe, pre-filled, etc. So you have a lot of topics. So you cannot put the same rules for every product, which can be maybe a good argument. But now they have some rules to follow. It's not anymore a proposal; it's an implemented regulation.
Yeah, it's now there now. It's real living now.
It's real, exactly. So now they have to work on that.
Yeah.
Any other topic from your side, Adam?
I think I've got a few. I think just on that that I seen Team NB just I think just today or a couple of days ago released another document. On this as well, a position paper on a consensus document. It was released on the 4th of June, which kind of goes through the previous paper they wrote, and I think there's a bit of an update on it, but they essentially, I think there's still the same things are still, obviously the legislation's in place now, so it's
exactly
I think it's gonna be interesting. I think I think it will be very interesting to see if this helps manufacturers. I think it will. I think also on the other side of it, though, I think sometimes manufacturers all want to run really quickly. Obviously, everyone wants to get through the conformity assessment process really quickly. I think this timeline now will, I think it potentially may create inadvertent issues for manufacturers because of how fast things need to move sometimes, what makes me think is okay, these numbers have obviously been based on the surveys that were conducted, when they were releasing all that data. So I assume that these numbers have been based on that. But there's going to be manufacturers that I think are going to struggle with this, the notified bodies now pausing the clock, not pausing the clock, I think it's going to be this is what we said mainly, that anyway, if the manufacturer is not clear at the end, it will not be certified. So if they are obliged to stop at a certain moment, so they have to say, okay, now we cannot. It can be an advantage if I say also for notified bodies to get some new contracts, also a new round of review. But we never know. So be careful of that. And again, the timeline is not immediate, so it will be staged until next year, if I remember. Yeah.
So it's not immediate.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Few other things. So the manufacturer's incident report form. We've spoke about this before. You and I recall we spoke about this, but it went through an update in last May. So
Okay.
it's one thing I just kind of want to make sure people refer to this properly. So because it obviously went from 7.3.1. I think it was. It went from 7.3, now up to 7.3.1. Sorry, and that's it references MDR and and it was released on mandatory from the 1st of May, whereas there seems to be a lot of people still that didn't detect this, and I think it's just something that I just want to make people try and be a bit aware of this. That this.
So
form
can you describe again what is the context?
Yeah, so the manufacturer's incident report form. So if they see anything, they need to notify. This was updated and it was now mandatory as of 1st of May. So the old ones don't apply anymore. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Whereas, the previous version there was a time where both could have been used, but now the old one is not recognized, and it's very clear on the commission website.
Yeah, and this is always the difficulty with this kind of MRIR form. So it's mainly the fact that it's changing. I mean, this year or by end of the last year, maybe it was the third or fourth change that happened. So it's also something that is difficult. So don't use this form as a formal document within your quality management system. Maybe use the link to the form that will be then changing, because if you use the form, you'll have to update your procedure every month or every 2 months. So it's mainly something that can be a problem here.
Yeah, that definitely is something that I think is kind of, because the MIR form also sits in a bit of a strange place in the commission website. Like it's kind of just like it doesn't seem. I'm not.
Doc room or something like that. It's a doc room,
it's just a bit.
Room
it's just,
or something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of it's in its own guidance, but it's kind of a reporting form, so it's kind of like it's not really guidance, It's kind of like it's kind of.
And if you want to use also the MIR form, remember that you have to use the IMDRF annexes because you have to define some grouping there also. So it's something that is important here.
Yeah, Debbie, that's correct. Yeah, that's without. Yeah. But yeah, I always find them a bit strange to try and navigate to, like in that sense. So I think I can see why people end up kind of all over the place with it,
Yeah.
And then the last thing is just on the UK, like things are super quiet here right now because obviously just like 2 weeks ago now, probably I think it was like maybe 3 weeks now since the draft pre-market legislation has been released. So the industry in the UK is really quiet at the moment. Everyone is just
holding their breath.
Everyone is just digesting it. It's like very like Christmas time when the proposal came out for the targeted evaluation.
I think there was also the other consultation that was over, but I have no news. Also, it's the one about accepting CE marking forever for medical devices.
That consultation is finished.
But the results are still the same. We are waiting.
The results still awaiting on the results.
So I hope, we all hope that they will accept forever, so that we are in the safe side. I know some notified bodies will maybe not like it, or some approved bodies say, "Oh, I want to be able to to sell some maybe UKCA things." So many this is.
I think the best way I have had this explained from when I was at a conference and there was members of the agency speaking about the pre-market legislation. The best way, they kind of got directly asked, are we going to keep the CE mark, kind of thing. And obviously they're like, we can't say it like that, but they are able, they gave a very vague answer, but it's an answer, and they said, the fact that we have opened a consultation on this. And the fact that, it has got to this stage where it's went through to have a consultation released, and the consultation is so specific, shows the agency's intent. So it shows that the agency have put forward to say we should be keeping this, and it's went through and now it's passed, and now it's about what industry says. So let's see.
Let's see.
honestly, I would not say anything publicly right now. As in betting, I'm not going to bet my house on it or anything like that, because anything can happen. But I would be really, really surprised if the UK dropped the CE mark, just like the UK is not going to drop.
Too,
Just like the UKCA mark is not going anywhere, in my opinion.
Yeah, they accepted the CE marking for everybody but medical devices, which makes no sense. And as we said, it's a small market, and they are trying to do reliance with a lot of other countries. So at the end, it makes no sense that to drop CE marking. So, but let's see.
And,
okay, let's look at some comments here. So we have Germany, we have Scotland, Romania with the Scotland. Scotland is from your side. Hi, Milda. I have a question regarding risk management, FMEA or not FMEA. That is the question. I think we have made a podcast on that with, I don't remember the person we have made the podcast, but we have made a podcast on that, FMEA or not FMEA.
Well, let's see the question. Can you bring the question on the screen? Just I lost it on the scroll.
Yeah.
Okay, cheers. The FMEA or not the FMEA? Okay. So can I answer this?
British question.
Can I answer this?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, okay. So there's not, from a 14971 perspective, the answer, obviously, this whole answer, I suppose, needs to be caveated with it depends, right? FMEA is a reliability engineering tool, and it is ultimately what is to be used to make sure the device will work properly and continue to work properly, and and in that sense, be able to try and predict how the device works. It does not consider harm. However, FMEA, it's not that the nature of that risk assessment is not based on harm or hazards, which is really, from a 14971 perspective, why that is so important. So you need to have hazard analysis to understand the particular characteristics of your device and the harms that could be caused as a result of the hazards. But that is also separate to the reliability of your device, but they can be connected, because if your device is not reliable, it could lead to certain hazards becoming realized. So they both tackle separate sides of a device, of a medical device, but they are both equally as important, in my opinion. They're both really important.
So we have FMEA is one tool. There is another that is called
there's like fault tree analysis.
Fault tree analysis, FTA, exactly. There are multiple different tools.
There's hazard
exactly.
Analysis.
So it depends of what is preferable for you and for your products and for this. But I know FMEA is the easiest one, if I can say, to go, because we were all used to do that. We were all used to work on that, etc. But maybe sometimes it's not the most convenient tool to be used. The point here that for me, the notified body or the assessor mainly will ask you to justify why FMEA is maybe used on that case. And if it raises a lot of non-conformity because the tool that you are using is not really sharing all the issues or all the things, so then it can be for you to prove that it's working. So I have to confess that mainly, yes, we are using only FMEA. We have used FTA for some devices that we are designing. HACCP is more for substances.
Yeah.
So yeah, I say it depends really on the on the type of products that you are using here.
Yeah.
The difficulty with FMEA is also the fact that it's grouping everything from initial issue to, I mean, what are the different arms, etc., plus the mitigation, plus the different things. Where ISO 14971 is also asking you to go sequentially. First, you define all the potential arm, and second, you do the different things. So it can be also something that is a bit disturbing sometimes.
Yeah, they call if it helps as Organa, they refer to FMEA as bottom up risk management. It's looking at something and breaking it into components, or essentially. I would probably ask if you mean what type of FMEA do you mean? Are you talking about a design FMEA or a process FMEA or usability?
You have multiple. Yeah, I saw now cyber security FMEA. We have user FMEA for usability. You have
AI FMEAs now, specific that have risks that are in failure modes that are only specific to AI.
And we had also something about transportation, because we had also logistic, FMEA, etc. So it depends what FMEA, what are the risks that you are looking at, and sometimes each group of risk is by different group of people. So the logistic or usability one can be maybe done by a certain group, and the other ones by other groups. So it depends also.
So, but FMEA bottom up, I'd say 14971 should be the primary kind of method of risk management. Really, it should be traceable to 14971, but there's not there's no singular way to do it.
No. Next question that we have is Diana. Serious question. So good to start with that. Serious question. I live in Europe, so EU MDR, etc. Can I still apply this guidance document? Thanks. FDA guidance, computer software assurance of production. My answer to this will be yes, if there is no conflict with the guidance in Europe. What I mean by that? I mean that Europe are always late in creation of guidances. I mean, specifically for AI. I mean, find me an AI guidance.
I can give you an AI. I can give you an AI Act, but you can have it in 18 months from August.
This is that. So if even me, when I look for AI, for example, guidance for software, I go to US guidance and I use them mainly. Or cybersecurity guidance. I don't find too much in Europe, so I go to US. There are some standards that are existing, so you can maybe look at standards if they are harmonized. But for me, as long as there is no conflict and as long as the content of the guidance makes sense, common sense, and there is no kind of specifically a tie to the US legislation or these kind of things, for me, yes, you can use that. It's not a problem. I think I talked about this guidance once on one of my podcast episodes, because I reviewed that also, which was a good guidance. But I mean, for me, yes, it's better to use the guidance that is existing than to invent your own way or your own framework of work or of testing or whatever.
Yeah, and especially because the FDA are members of the IMDRF, so they not only are the FDA members of the IMDRF, they are really the fundamental big voices within the IMDRF, especially on elements that are relating to cybersecurity, machine learning, and kind of computer validation and GAMP systems. FDA have kind of always led that, and just from my experience in industry, but I remember, and about 10 years ago, really, when I was like a lot more kind of on the tools, and I remember that like FDA were one of the only agency that provided guidance on kind of spreadsheet validation, for example. And we would use that in Europe and in the UK because it was the kind of only thing out there.
Even for example, when we talk about authentication or signature, etc., we use the 21 CFR Part 11 also. So even for European certification, we are still mentioning some of those guidances, which are accepted by US by notified body, because as there is no harmonized standard, no NDCG guidance, nothing like that. So at the end, they accept they use that. Even the ASTM guidance, for example, or ASTM standards, those kind of things, they can be accepted also. So I mean, we recommend you to use that for sure. I think Azure Ghana just answered some of your answer. I talked both of DFMEA and PFMEA. So as I said, it's different categories of FMEA, and that maybe can be used. And thank you. I think FMEA is really beneficial for more complex, from manufacturing perspective, devices. I used it for custom-made implants. Now I'm working on simpler device and seem to not be exactly. So it's why I think it's important what you are saying here. You see that you used another type of device. It looks more complex for this type of device. So then you can find your own methodology, or you can find the methodology that is acceptable for identifying any risk for this simpler device and not making that. But you can still use FMEA, but it will be maybe 2 or 3 lines of risks instead of 50 lines when it's a complex device also. So it's up to you also to look at that. We had a question before that is interesting. What would you answer to that? Hi everyone, I have a question. Is the change of an ERP system a significant change?
Oh. So an enterprise resource planning system.
Yeah, it's those manufacturing software that's using to track all the products inside the manufacturing plant. There is two concepts to look at here, because when we say significant change, it's not a significant change to a product. No.
No.
So it's not like you have to go to a notified body and ask for reviewing again all your product and see certification and everything. But it's a significant change, maybe to, I don't know if we can say quality system or quality management, etc. It's a change. I know if you do a change of an EQMS, yes, you have a major change in the quality management system, and you have to mention it on your management review, and you have maybe some time to confirm during a project that you have made all the checks and validation also. Here, for me, a ERP system, if I had to answer, I would say yes, it's also a significant change for the QMS because it contains some quality data or quality information. And per ISO 13485, any software that is managing quality information has to be validated. So if you change that, it means that it has to be revalidated, and it can be considered as a major change also there.
Yeah. I would say the same. I think from product basis, I wouldn't say it's. No, I wouldn't say.
No, because it's traceability only.
I'd say it's from a QMS. Yeah, it would be.
No, there is maybe one aspect only. If it's managing also the labeling, because labeling is part of the product. So if it's managing the creation of the label or this and that, maybe this is a point to look at. But I'm not. It's not significant for a notified body also. As long as you are having a CAPA or non-conformity, plan non-conformity that you are managing, change control, etc. You are managing, it's fine. So it's mainly that.
Unless.
Find me another case.
I'm trying to think. I'm really trying to think.
I try to see what can be the tricky point here.
The only thing I can see it would be as if the implementation of an ERP system would prohibit the organization from being able to continue to supply the device.
Yeah.
Then you would need to. Then you would be into interruption and supply of certain devices.
But it depends on the timing of doing that. Yeah, but
it's only that. I don't think so.
But
I was really trying there.
No, if I am the manufacturer guy, I will never allow that.
Yeah.
So.
No, I would just be like, no, just raise
find another solution or make it in parallel for the moment or whatever. But you cannot stop the production, and it's maybe you. And even if we do a switch, I will do the switch during the weekend when nobody's there, and it's like
just
on Friday you are closing with the last order, on Monday you're opening with the new order, and it's fine. So
I'd say you would just raise a change control. That would be it would be significant in your own QMS.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know.
Okay, so we have. I don't know what's the answer question here. Philip Case, Harmonia, a long time since we spoke last. How are you getting with using AI LLM system? Okay. So we are all testing this now. I think we are doing well with AI LLM, but it's not that easy. It's not that easy because as we are expert in our domain, as we are expert in quality and regulatory affairs, when we ask a question to this LLM, it provides some answers, but we don't like the answer. Not because it's not the right answer, it's just because it's not precise enough or they didn't took in place something. So sometimes you are, again, coming back to this LLM, say, by the way, here is a precision for this thing. Can you now find the answer? They find an answer, say, still not what I'm looking for, etc. So there are still some iteration before you arrive to an answer that's conclusive, but it's improving. As I said, for you, the one that I like to use is Notebook LM. So Notebook LM, I can provide my sources directly to it, and then I can interrogate my source, and I can gather information from my source, which is more helpful. But the one that I'm using for really asking questions and this and that is mainly ChatGPT or Gemini or this one. So mainly this is the one I'm using. So if you have never used Notebook LM, it's also great to summarize everything within a presentation. We have also, I don't know if you have used that also, this functionality. They have a podcast function, which means that you are asking them to create a podcast about your topic. And then what is interesting is that you can interact with the people that are speaking during the podcast. Like you are an auditor that is just calling them and you say, oh, by the way, and you click a button and you start to speak, you say mainly what you want to say. And then it's crazy because those people are stopping, say, oh yeah, what you are saying is interesting because of that. So they're interacting to what you are saying, which was always amazing for me. So, but it's something that I'm using mainly. So it's mainly those things. I try to use other things, but to be honest, for the moment, it's mainly the ones that I'm using here.
Just on this as well, I think I spoke about this a few weeks ago, but the FDA released a document to industry around the use of AI or machine learning within device development. So I see this in industry in general that it's here. AI, ML, machine learning has been here since the 90s, so it's that's not new, but it is here, and yesterday is as bad as it will ever be, and today is as bad as it will ever be. It is only going to get better, but
it gets better, exactly.
But it is here in our industry, and it is being used. And I think what the FDA has seen is that the FDA has seen an increase in documentation that was using generative AI, and they obviously seen so much around it or felt so strongly around it that they felt a need to put a direct letter out to industry on this to say that
So what was the summary of this letter? What did they say exactly?
Let me find that.
Because for me, what I'm seeing in the future is that we are creating documents with LLM, and notified bodies or FDA or whatever are reviewing documents with LLM. So at the end, it's like like computer speaking to a computer.
So this was on drug. This was around drug development, right? But it will be the same for us.
Yeah,
so this was
the same topic. Yeah.
A warning letter. This is a warning letter. Actually, it wasn't a letter to industry. It was a warning letter. So let's see. Let me read this.
It's a warning letter for an industry that was using that during the development of their.
If you use AI as an aid in document creation, you must review the AI-generated documents to ensure that they were accurate and actually compliant with CGMP. Your failure to do so is a violation of 21 CFR 211.
Really?
I see. Yeah. This is really interesting. Over-reliance on artificial intelligence for drug manufacturing operations was also documented during the inspection. For example, the FDA inspectors found that you had not conducted process validation prior to distribution of your drug products, and informed you as such. You replied that you were not aware of the legal requirement as the AI agent you used never told you it was required.
So it's amazing because I know that we have seen sometimes some screenshots of some dossier. And you know, at the end of ChatGPT, it always says to you, do you want me to do this or do you want me to do that or to continue on this and that? And they also copied this sentence from the ChatGPT and put it on the dossier on the thing. So it was obvious that it was coming from ChatGPT. And even the links, remember, just one thing, maybe a trick for people that are, if ChatGPT gives you a link, it's written that it's coming from ChatGPT. So you have to remove this URL thing. So it's why it's important to review all those things, just to make it also. I mean, I have said I'm not against using AI because it's a tool. It's like Google. Before Google, I had to go to an encyclopedia to search for information. Now I go to Google. Now I go to AI, which is fine. But yes, as FDA said, mainly so. Please review what you are generating, check if the content is fine, etc. So this is mainly the element that is really important here. Okay, so what else we have here? So still some comments from I have DMU, my development system, I'll just catch up. I've built 7 layers, government, platform. Okay, so let's see. What else exactly? GPI is a problem due to drift hallucination, exactly. Human in the middle, yes. And what else? It needs governance. Okay. Okay, so let's continue. Again, if you have some experience on AI for medical devices, regulation, whatever, I said you can still continue to share that with us. Please go to the QR code at the top left, top right, Medtech Open Office, and register, and then we can again continue the discussion, and you can share with us mainly if you see any problem or anything there.
I think Debbie had some comments on Latin America. I think from
we'll come back to this one. Yeah. Okay, so LATAM, for example, have different definition of significant change. I mean, every country has a different definition of significant change. I think if I go to the US and to Europe, they are completely different. Yeah, I had the case this morning. We have a manufacturer that made a change on their product. They consider it's a non-significant change in the US. So they made a letter to file, which is fine, which is just to show that we have understood that, and here is justification why. But they went with this exact change to Europe. And in Europe, this is considered as a significant change. And this created a major issue, etc., for their company, because they were MDD, and with this change, they become MDR, and they are not MDR certified, etc. So this was really a big problem. So each country has its own definition of what is significant change. So you cannot just say, oh, it's a significant change in the US, then it is a significant change in Latin America. Even in Latin America, Brazil and maybe Mexico has different definition of what is a significant change. So my advice is always go and look at the legislation. What I'm doing, for example, with some manufacturers, we are asking them, where are they selling their devices? And when they start to say to me, oh, they're selling this region, this region, this region, we are looking at the change control procedure. The change control procedure is also checking how are you managing change in the different regions. So then sometimes they are mentioning the NDCG guidance for CE marking, but they fail to mention the guidance for US or the guidance for countries where they are selling. So you have to understand that CE marking also is not the law of all the countries. So you have to have a careful review of what is the legislation in the different countries related to changes.
Yeah, spot on. That's really. It also depends on what you're using for the reliance, for that the entry into that market as well. You know, if you are using a CE mark format, then then you're gonna need to consider that as part of it, because you have a notified body that you will be interested in your registration.
Exactly, and again, also don't take any change. Don't take it as a last minute thing. So what I'm always saying is that if you plan a change, plan it maybe 6 months to 1 year in advance, because you have to establish the change if it's a significant change or not. Because mainly, even if there is a change, you have to document this change before you implement that, etc. So you have some kind of time you need to have some buffer before to implement the change. And also to decide to not do it at all, because if you do it and then it's major issue afterwards, maybe never to do that. Again, also in Europe, if you do a change because there is a major issue on the market because of your product, it's not a significant change. You can do a change to correct a corrective action in Europe, and this is not a significant change, because mainly it's demanded by the law. You have to make this correction anyway, or it's the authority that asks you to do that. At the end, if it's needed because it creates a major issue, it's better to make a change than to make nothing. So it's mainly that. Okay. About the ERP. About the question regarding the ERP system, does that mean the change has to be reported to the EU notified body or the FDA? No, you have to document it. I mean, it depends again if it's really touching the product or not. Here, I think the ERP system is not touching the product, unless we talk about the label, but even the label, I think it's not touching. It's something that you can document. Here, you have two things to do. First, you have to open or change control or a project or a CAPA to mainly document this change. because ERP system is a big change. So mainly how you will do this change. Then you have to document the fact that mainly here are the different actions that you will be doing for that change, verification, validation, etc., etc. And you document that on your CAPA. And second, you have to document that on your management review. So when you do a management review once per year or once every 2 years, or twice every year, you have then to mention because there is a section about changes to your quality system, for example. And the ERP is one of the elements that you can mention there. We have changed our ERP. It was managed by the CAPA blah, blah, blah number. And the status is actually on effectiveness monitoring, for example, etc. And this, when the notified body will come, or FDA, they will check your changes and they will find this change and they will then verify that you have implemented that correctly. But if it is not significant change to your product, there is no need. But what I'm doing always when it's gray area or fuzzy, I always call the notified body and ask them. We have our project lead on the notified body. We call them, we say, hey, we have this type of change. Is this something to report, or is it something that we should just keep it on our quality management system? And then they will review that together with you. Important, if you can write that on an email. Why? Because the people that you will be talking to at the notified body are not the people that will be coming to audit you. So when they come to audit you, they always have this question: have you informed the notified body about that? And if you have the email and you have the answer, you say it's fine, then we can move forward. But if you say no, then they can try to dig on this and try to find a non-conformity where there is maybe non-conformity here. So it's why it's important that you are writing that better than call. I mean, you can call, but you can share. Can I send you an email and you just answer what you just said to me, and then it's fine. So keep that somewhere in case your auditor is a bit tricky and is asking you some difficult questions.
Yeah, I agree.
So you see the experience, and the AI cannot answer that.
That's it. It becomes difficult. Yeah, exactly. No, I think that would, for me, would be around, internal change control, and then that. But it would be that if that would be one. I think that would, if it helps, that would be a change that would be particularly interesting for an auditor to sample, because it is a big change to the business, and it might impact traceability. And that would be why you'd look at it and you'd say, okay, show me your high risk changes.
I think it's ERP system change is a big change. So I think it's covering training, it's covering implementation, it's covering a lot of topics that within an audit can show if there is any systemic issue or not there. So it's I think a good thing to look at that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we have also Anis. Hey, Anis, Ben Brahim, do you remember Anis? It was the one that asked the question first.
Yeah, Anis. Nice to see you again.
The packaging of a medical device displays the MD symbol, yes, but the manufacturer is still using transitional measure to legacy devices, correct? No. Because here the MD symbol is coming also. The MDR never say you have to put an MD symbol. The MDR says you have to mention medical device. You have to show it's a medical device on your label. Yeah. The MD symbol is coming from the standard ISO something 15223-1, etc.
Yeah,
this standard is helping you, and it's what it says also on the EUMDR. It says if you can use harmonized standard with symbols, it's better, because then you don't have to translate to all languages. Because if you say medical devices, you have to say in French dispositifs médicaux. You have to say in German medicine product whatever, etc. But if you put the MD symbol, which means medical devices, then you don't have to do all those translations, etc. So it's not mandatory, as I've said, to mention the MD symbol, but it's mandatory then to put medical device or all the things there. So my advice, please put the MD symbol. Don't put medical device, dispositif médicaux, etc. Otherwise, it will be a big label with a lot of things. And MDR says, yes, if there is an harmonized standards for symbol, use those harmonized standards, and then you have no problem. But there is no legacy device thing. So there is no grandfathering since the 26th of May 2021. So from there, you have to be careful there.
Yeah, I would agree. The MDR, and it's a GSPR. This requirement is a GSPR. Yeah. So the requirement for that symbols shall take the form of internationally recognized symbols. It's important within the EU. So
I think before on the MDD there was no requirement for mentioning medical devices. So maybe this is the issue that they have identified now. That for legacy devices, the fact that on the previous legislation, I don't think there was because
it was definitely a change as a result of the previous version of 15223 did not contain it, I believe.
But now the new version has the MD symbol, so it's mainly that. So if the MD symbol, so if you are following the 15223-1, then you have the MD symbol that is mentioned there.
Yeah, and then that kind of makes because that's harmonized, that's what makes it mandatory.
Exactly, yeah.
Essentially from that side of things.
Another question from Anis is, when will we change EC rep to EREP? I think it's already in place.
The standard's been updated.
I cannot remember if it was, the standard was already published with the amendment with now the thing, so it's in place. The problem with standards is that I don't know if now this one is harmonized officially. If it is harmonized officially, then it's already in place and you have to use it. If it's not harmonized, there is still this thing that you say, standard is not mandatory, it's voluntary, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But if it's harmonized, there is no voluntary or mandatory. I mean, it's voluntary things.
Let me check quickly and I'll see if I can just...
Usually, if I remember before, it was like 3 years for transition of transition, but I don't think they are placing any transition on the standard anymore.
No, I remember seeing a really good post about this by Ronald Bowmans, who spoke about this, basically saying, it's a lower risk thing.
Yeah.
So just plan it. It obviously depends on, again, I keep saying it depends today, it's one of these days, but if you're making a physical product, again, this is a lot more of a challenge than if you're making a digital software product. So if you have a digital product, I don't think there's any excuse for not making that change.
Yeah, exactly. You just change the symbol digitally and it's finished. So.
Need to, change that within your QMS, but it's really not a big change. If you have product which has been manufactured, it's been labeled, and then it's a lot different, then I would say plan it in accordance with batch phase outs or next product development, for example, specific to whatever's going on. But I would say that for a physical product, the change should be phased out or phased in appropriately that suits the business, because I do not believe that a business should incur the kind of, for a physical product, the cost of just changing that. That should just be relevant as to what's going on in the business.
Exactly,
you do need to change it.
Yeah, so change it, and to claim the standard mainly, I think you have to change it immediately.
Yeah.
Okay. No more question here.
There was one thing I wanted to have a little chat about if there was no more questions.
I think we have just 8 minutes to go. So
cool, that's cool. Yeah, it's cool. So this was on a standard that is being developed by BSI, and the MHRA are working with BSI on the standard. This is very UK specific, right? But it's very niche. But it's a standard on clinical studies of mental health technologies.
Oh yeah.
So this is now something that's going on in industry where we're starting to see a little. The industry is really, in the UK there was the MHRA released information on the digital mental health technologies last year around how to define where they fall in terms of medical indication, functionality, risk. And now this is really interesting because we're seeing that the MHRA are now kind of, there's online kind of actively showing that, they support this and that they're contributing towards it. And they want feedback from industry on this standard as well. And I think it's really, so I can give a little overview as to what this is.
It's public, this or?
Yeah, that's public. I've put it in the community page as well.
Yeah, so it's in put the link maybe. Put the link maybe that we are looking at and.
So it says this gives recommendations for performing clinical studies to generate clinical evidence in the pre-market phase and real-world data in the early implementation post-market phase involving digital mental health technologies that qualify as software as a medical device.
Yeah. Okay. I see that 29th of June for the comments.
Yeah.
Correct?
So yeah, that's the correct. So this is kind of, I'm gonna have a look at it, like a proper read at it. But something I think is really worth looking at, because digital mental health technologies now has its own acronym. It's DMTH. It has its own. It's like breakthrough devices. I remember at Christmas we were joking on there, the BDX.
Yeah.
We now have our own acronym.
BDX.
So I think it's gonna only become more common, especially with artificial intelligence. Like, these devices are going to become more and more common. So obviously this is kind of something that they feel the need to develop, which is outside of what ISO 14155.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
It's a new. There is a new version, huh?
There was a new version just last month, of 14155. Yeah. But this is obviously a different standard. This looks like it'll be a British standard that is specifically on clinical evidence for mental health technologies.
Yeah. So let's look at that, and so you put that on the Medtech Open Office. So please go on the QR code and join the group so you can see that also.
Yeah.
So it's on the Medtech Open Office, so that we can maybe have a look and review that also.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, last comment from Anis. What he says: okay. Manufacturers are still indicating all this rep. Maybe they have all this rep because it was manufactured a long time ago also. So you have also maybe to verify that. But as said, if the standard is not harmonized, I don't know. I have to check that if it's harmonized or not. But if it's not harmonized, maybe yes, they will not claim specific that. But as soon as they claim on their GSPR that they are using ISO 15223, etc., then they have to use it. So it's not like they are just claiming and they are not using that. So as the standard change, then they have to do this. And as they have normally to do a regulatory update or a regulatory intelligence for changes, if there is a standard that is changing, then they have to change that. So which is, and I don't think it's considered as a major change for a notified body, so it's fine. So you can do it. Just document that correctly. Okay, so we arrived to the end. I think it was a great episode again. So thanks everybody for joining. But we didn't have anybody from
we need
US
we need people from further away. Yeah, we need to we need to widen the pool. So but yeah, I think I think it's good to think we keep going, and it's I think it's really interesting, some of the questions that come up. But
and yeah, so mainly we need your help also, because mainly what we try to do here is to help you by answering questions and everything. So don't hesitate to share questions with us. Don't hesitate to tell us mainly. You can also, as I said, on the group, if you are starting to ask questions on the group, maybe we have other people answering also. But we can maybe pick one of your questions on the group that we can then also share today or share during those kind of calls, which can be interesting also. Okay, so Adam, I think I
need to go get pasta.
Yeah, you have to go to a restaurant now. So enjoy. have a nice dinner. And let's maybe plan again for the next Medtech Open Office in 2 weeks again from now.
Same time.
We try to keep it every 2 weeks on Thursday. So just if you want to keep it on your agenda. But maybe we'll do more. But for the moment, let's keep just that and see how it is going, and if people are really liking that and wanting to continue to do it or not. So again, thanks everybody. I wish you a nice end of the day, and talk to you soon. And don't forget, go to this QR code on the top here. We can invite you there. Okay, thanks everybody. I wish you a nice end of the day. Bye bye.
Thank you everyone. See you, Manuel.
Bye. Bye.
Take care. Bye.